Hello and welcome to From Outside the Box, a K-League United podcast, and our very first bonus episode. Paul Neat here, along with Mr. Matthew Binns. Hello.
Hello, Paul. Good to be back for the new season.
Absolutely, yeah. The new season is coming up. We've got a new curtain raiser. It's not the old traditional method is gone, and the old traditional method is back. We now have the Super Cup. But before we get to that, I want to just ask you about pre-season. What for you is the best part about pre-season or the build-up to a new season?
I think it switches. You know, it comes in waves, doesn't it? You wait for the fixtures, and they'll trickle out, and then you wait for the kits. I've never been a big fan of squad numbers. I know that's something you've enjoy very much, but for me, it's I guess it's the transfers. I mean, it's great to have the kits. It's great to have the fixtures, but it's that flurry of transfers that you get, and the gossip and the waiting and the days and days of, is it going to go through? When will it go through? And yeah, for me, I think that's what does it.
Transfers is a big part of it, absolutely. I think other than transfers, I think, yeah, you got me. Squad numbers. I think I really like I really like looking at even just when squad numbers are released for not even my team. I like to look to see what the new signings have got. I like to see when a player has sort of earned a better number within the squad. They become more of an important part of the team and they've got a better number. And it really annoys me when players have got really bad numbers. Like, Have you seen what Song Min-gyu's got for Seoul?
I'm sure it's something highly annoying.
He's got 34. Which
what does that resemble? Is that...
Well, apparently it's his wife's birthday. He got married at the end of last year.
Yes.
And I'm guessing what happened was that they already assigned the number 10, vacated by Lingard, to Anderson, and then the transfer to Song Min-gyu must have come a bit later. But why would just wait until a bit later and then assign the squad numbers? Surely you must have known that your transfer business isn't complete. Plus, a marquee player like Song Min-gyu, you keep that number 10 open. But anyway, I don't know. But so that, to me, squad numbers, I love it. And also for us as commentators, which we'll touch on, I think, when we speak to Alex in the next episode, or our first official episode of this new podcast, is we have to find out who's who, and we look to the squad numbers to be able to do that. So I am looking with my commentator hat on, and also just as a geek, someone who loves squad numbers in general.
I can a very, unique squad number, or a squad number that's recognisable is very helpful, it should be said. To be honest though, it's not really about the recognisable squad numbers for me, it's about being able to actually read them. I feel like some shirts last season, especially the away kits, they tend to borderline on the incoherent. I can't remember who's I'm sure Daegu is one of the culprits. I'm sure they did a gold on white one year, but I think even sky blue on white, you're like, I have no idea who that is from afar, because we are looking at it from a TV screen, and so we only get to see as far as the camera will show us sometimes. But anyway, less said on that, the better. We'll get Alex on to get his thoughts on that. He might have a trick or two up his sleeve on how to combat those kind of things.
Exactly. Well, it is the Super Cup. You're going. It's returning after, a 20-year absence. We already have touched on this at the end of last year, but I suppose more specific to our teams, Jeonbuk and Daejeon. What are your thoughts just about this? Are you excited about this game? Does it mean anything to you, do you think?
Yeah, it does, actually. I think it's a good thing. I think more trophies to win, more prize money. There is a reasonable pot on offer for this. More football to watch is never a bad thing. And I think, we cover a league where there's only one domestic cup competition. There's no League Cup in this league. And even that, the Korea Cup is now starting in the second half of the year. So we're not even treated to any cup competitions until August. So it is kind of a bit of a dry spell of just league action, and I think that this offers a nice little respite, a nice little appetizer to the season. It has been in place, in theory, for the last 10, 15 years, because the opening game has usually been the winners of the league versus the cup winners, unless there's a significant reason why they couldn't do it. Either they've won both competitions, or one got relegated, or one wasn't in the division rather. So there have been a few examples where it hasn't. This, by having this, it allows for that K-League 2 or non-K-League 1 side who wins the cup, aka the Jeonnam year. It allows for that competition to happen. So I think that's great. I think it's great to have a bit of jeopardy early on, winner takes all. I guess if you're asking me to be really picky, I'd prefer a neutral venue. I think it's a great option right now to show off the southern grounds. Obviously, the northern grounds, as we're finding out with Seoul, frozen, as they always are at this time of year. And this would be a great time to perhaps go to like a traditional ground, like the Steel Yard. Be a great little curtain raiser at the first football-specific ground, or it could be something great to have at the Munsu as well. So I think it'd be great to have in one of those stadiums. And I prefer the finals to have a bit of a grande out feeling to them. But this fixture will be good. I think the only other thing I'd say is like having it in Jeonbuk, it kind of takes away from the fixtures of not the fixtures, the receipts of the first fixture of the season. I kind of like having that first league game of the season, but I guess we'll see how that pans out when the season kicks off proper.
Yeah, I feel as though from a Daejeon perspective, it feels a little bit like they got there by default. Like it's not really deserved. It's kind of, so it's hard to get excited in terms of it's a piece of silverware to win. A little bit embarrassed, I think, maybe that we kind of got there only because Jeonbuk won both the league and the cup last year. So I don't know, and it's not as if we knew last year that the Super Cup would be back. Certainly not 100% by the time the season had got to the point where it looked like they could finish in second or whatever. So it feels like it hasn't really been earned. What kind of has, I don't know. So I think for Daejeon, it's more about just seeing where they're at. It probably takes the pressure off the first game of the season because they can have a look at how they are doing, or how the pre-season has gone.
Exactly, a bit of a free hit, if you like.
Yeah, it is a free hit. So obviously, just to have a brief look at the Super Cup. Obviously, it's now, or background rather, it is the Kupang Play Super Cup. Unfortunately, it's not on K-League TV. It's a shame that it's not being broadcasted internationally, but it will be on domestically via Kupang Play. One leg, as you said, Matthew, played at the home stadium of the K-League 1 winners. 200 million won prize money. That's around $138,000. And even if you lose, you get half of that. So it's a nice bit of cash. 90 minutes, then a shootout if scores level, no extra time. Looking at the record of who's won it in the past, K-League 1 winners have won it 6-1 against the FA Cup winners, and Jeonbuk were the first or the only FA Cup winner to win the Super Cup. They did it in 2004. So there we go. They've been in it a few times. Daejeon just once. They lost in 2002 to Songnam. So it's something that they've both been in before, but a long time ago. Daejeon looking for their first ever win in this competition, and hopefully in the future they might feel like they've actually earned a place in it. So that's that. That is what we know about the Super Cup. I suppose, Matthew, we will probably have to try and convince each other and ourselves why we think our teams will win. What do you think is it about this Jeonbuk team, who are, of course, the K-League champions? What do you think about them they will get the job done?
I think you've just said it. They are the champions. It's obvious. They're also the Korea Cup winners, and they won the title. Kanta, they won it with 5 games to spare. So while there's been significant upheaval over the winter break, that kind of winning mentality, it's difficult to shake. They're also at home, and while the stadium is divided fairly evenly fan-wise for this match, it should be said, they have an end each, and the main stand is actually open to everyone. It won't be. It will still be heavily attended by Jeonbuk fans. I would also say, even if you consider their upheaval, while there's some very large names have left, and I'm sure we're going to touch on those very shortly, and that also includes the manager, it should be said, they have swiftly signed players so to have a full pre-season with each of them, and they all fill voids or address issues that were going to be needed to looked at regardless. So they are still a very strong side. And not only that, but they still are a very potent threat, I think it should be said. King Sang-sup, he's come in, he's a trusted talent by the new manager, and he's going to be deployed on the left, probably in the Son Min-kyu vacancy at some point. He's proven his worth last season, both at Gimcheon and also in his end-of-season return to Jeju with those heroics in the playoffs. We've got Obadan in from Pohang Steelers, which is massive. One of the moves of the window. And he'll boost the central midfield that is lacking in Park Jin-sop. More on him later, though. And then let's move to the attack. Bruno Motta. He adds incredible depth to a strike force that already contains Andrea Campagno and Thiago. So the three of them combined, that's 36 league goals they scored last season. Admittedly, Campagno isn't likely available as he continues to recover from his injury. But Motta and Thiago to select from for this first match of the season. Crikey.
Yeah. Well, you make a compelling point. I just think that this is a free hit, like you kind of said earlier. This is why they might feel as though they can have a good go at Jeonbuk. They might feel as though they've got a point to prove against Jeonbuk as well. The manager lamented the team's poor record against Jeonbuk last year. I think it was just one draw and 1 point earned from the 4 meetings, plus a fifth in the FA Cup that they lost, or the Korea Cup, sorry, that they lost at home 3-2. The squad's been fine-tuned with some real quality additions, players who have won things. Ludvigsen, Onwon Sang. So I think more players with that winning mentality might just, there's quite a lot of ex-Ulsan players already. You got Lee Myung-jae and Ju Min-kyu in there, who've obviously won everything with Ulsan. So you would think that a few more won't do any more harm, will it? But I know you've obviously said that Jeonbuk have replaced a lot of their major outgoings, but I just think those outgoings are so significant that might feel like there's some of the Jeonbuk and Poyet magic has been lost there. All the coaching staff, all those coaches who are very popular, Poyet, who was obviously very, very popular. You had players who I've got 3 or 4 players who won't be there that were in the best 11 last year. Hong Jong-ho, Park Jin-sop, Kang Sang-yoon out injured. Son Min-kyu's left as well. So, a brand new centre-back pairing of Park Ji-soo and Choi Jae. I mean, obviously they've had a pre-season to get together and sort of work things out, but will that work in practice in a real game? So I don't know. I just think it is Jeonbuk, it is in Jeonju, but there's just, there's some really important departures might just give Daejeon a little bit of hope. They've had a pretty good pre-season as well. I mean, obviously, results don't really matter too much, but they played 6 games in a training camp in Spain against clubs from various countries. Recorded 2 wins, 3 draws, and just 1 loss. They beat a couple of they beat one team from the Ukrainian top flight, Akribas, and they also beat Västerås SK from the Swedish top flights, and they earned fairly decent draws with Karpaty Lviv of Ukraine, Murcia in Spain in the 3rd division, and Sogndal in the Norway 2nd tier. So they've had, and they've had, from what I've seen, the likes of their new players, Diogo scoring, Ludvigsen scoring, getting assists, Onwon Sang scoring and getting assists, Massa scoring and getting assists. So it looks like there's a full squad to choose from, and they look ready. Although the manager has said that he thinks they are 70% ready, and they've returned from Spain, I think it was earlier this week, to sort of, fine-tune, go down to the south coast of South Korea, as they often do, teams, to finish their pre-season. So they'll feel as though this will be a very, very good test to sort of see where they're at, if these fine-tuning additions are pretty much what they need to have a good go at Jeonbuk. So I think that it's a free hit, and good additions, and Jeonbuk with some significant departures that I think will be probably a bit too significant over the course of the season.
Yeah, no, I think so. And a good point on 𝗦𝗫𝐶 and on Won-sang as well, just mentioning those names. I mean, it's unbelievable that Ulsan have let them go, but I mean, given all that's gone on at Ulsan, I guess it's not really a surprise. And yeah, they are going to be quite the force to be reckoned with. And you are right in saying about Jeonbuk's Jeonbuk's outbound are sizable. I mean, 𝗏𝗚𝐷𝐴n is probably one of the best inbound transfers of the K-League window, but it's because he's replacing one of the biggest outbounds of the window, which was Park Jin-sop, one of the Player of the Year nominees and an absolute linchpin for Jeonbuk in the centre of midfield, providing that cover to the centre backs. It was a bit of a surprise move as well because he is a Jeonbuk fan. He is from the area, and you're thinking after winning La Decima, he might fancy a crack at the Champions League, but he is, the club and himself have been swayed by the Chinese Super League. He's gone to Zhejiang FC for a cool $1 million. So, yeah, Park Jin-sop, massive exit. And as you mentioned there with Hong Jong-ho departing the club at centre-back, that's more trouble down at Jeonbuk's spine. Yeah, that defensive, that defense, even though it was aging somewhat, Kim Tae-hwan, Hong Jong-ho, Kim Yeon-bin, and Kim Tae-hyun, and the solidity of Son Bom-kun in net, they were difficult to break down last season, and it is going to take time for them to find that rhythm. No amount of pre-season can get you ready for that. I think as well, the injured Kang Sang-yoon, which you mentioned, he got injured on under-23 duty for South Korea in the AFC age equivalent competition. It's a cause for concern. He was a real breath of fresh air last year to Jeonbuk, coming back from his loan at Suwon FC. He was one of the standout talents. Him leaving the central midfield, Park Jin-sop leading the central midfield. It kind of upsets things right in the middle of the park. It means we're going to either have a new central midfield pairing or trio, tactics depending. It's going to definitely be Kim Jin-kyu and 𝗏𝗚𝐷𝐴n. And yeah, it depends how much work they've done together in pre-season. I guess one of the manager's strengths, Chung Jong-yong's strengths, is regularly assembling and reassembling teams, though, given the nature of Kim Chon-sang-moo, the military side. So hopefully the combination deployed is somewhat serviceable come Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think what we'll expect from Daejeon is probably a 4-4-2, as we've often seen under Hwang Sun-hong since he took over. I was looking in the pre-season sort of highlights videos that I've seen, and it's pretty much the same. One sort of big striker up top alongside a sort of number 10. So they tried So Jin-soo as a sort of number 10, but I think he'll probably be more from the left. As a sort of either or with Gustav 𝗏𝗚𝐿. But I mean, obviously, there's two major signings. 𝗏𝗏𝐿 and Won-sang show that it's going to be about width, it's going to be about wingers, it's going to be about trying to get balls out wide to those wide players. You've got the direct nature of Won-sang, who's sort of very quick in straight lines and can sort of make those diagonal runs sort of in from the sort of from the touchline kind of area, whereas 𝗏𝗏𝐿 can kind of cut in and play a bit more centrally and kind of make a front three at times. So they both offer different things, but I think that's probably one of the sort of why they've been picked as their signings. So I think we'll see more or less the same. Direct, probably on the counter attack, and if I was to sort of think of a reason potentially why they might not be able to get the job done, is just that it is basically an away game. They're playing at Jeonju Castle. Is that a mental burden? Is that a mental sort of? Is it weighing on them after they had a very poor record there last year? Obviously, Jeonju Castle is a fortress again. As it sort of ought to be, as we expect it to be. And in terms of weaknesses as well, I think what I saw in pre-season, okay, I know it's pre-season, they're only friendlies, but they got caught out on the counter with balls in behind or over the top again. So if they sort of commit too many men forward, they might get caught out, but then will they be that sort of carefree in a big game, a big sort of showpiece game like this? So yeah, I don't know. I think perhaps we should end with a score prediction.
Well, I would imagine Jeonbuk will probably have enough. It'll be a narrow score, but I think a late 1-0, 2-1 to Jeonbuk. I think if it goes to penalties, it's Daejeon's.
Well, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw, and Daejeon will win on penalties. That's my prediction.
There we go. Jeonbuk's record with penalties, I'm sure, I think off the top of my head, it's one success in the last 10 or 11 shootouts across all competitions. Getting this one to his penalties as quickly as possible is not going to bode well for the home side.
Well, I think in terms of entertainment value, it is great that they've got rid of extra time because, especially, it's going to be February 21st. It's going to be probably quite cold. Let's be honest. You don't want to have fans waiting for an extra half an hour. When let's be honest, how many teams actually score in extra time? It's very rare, isn't it? It's always very cagey. But the first 15 minutes are always. They might have a bit of a go, but they don't want to overcommit. And then the second 15 minutes are always very cagey. It's like about not losing at that point, isn't it? So, yeah, straight to penalties is a great idea.
Indeed. So, hopefully it'll at least be a bit of a spectacle. Two teams coming off of pre-season. You never know really what you're going to get. There might be a bit slow out the gates, but hopefully it'll be entertaining enough to justify the decision to bring it back. And hopefully it'll give us a bit of an insight what to expect from two of the league favourites this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, it's time to end. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.